A narrow strip of water just miles wide controls the fate of the global economy. Every day, nearly 20% of the world's oil passes through the Strait of Hormuz. But now, a $100 billion plan is emerging to bypass it entirely. Pipelines are expanding, routes are shifting, and the balance of energy power is quietly being rewritten. Because if this choke point is ever blocked, the shock won't stay regional. It will hit markets, governments, households worldwide. The question is no longer if the world depends on the Strait of Hormuz, but how long it will last. A dense cluster of oil tankers drifted in uneasy formation beneath a hazy dawn sky, their steel hulls cutting through the narrow waters of the Strait of Hormuz. Radar screens flickered inside nearby naval vessels as patrol boats traced deliberate arcs across one of the most heavily monitored shipping corridors on Earth. The air carried a constant mechanical hum, engines idling, surveillance systems scanning, crews waiting. Then came the warning signals. Maritime alerts spread across communication channels, insurance advisories surged, and energy traders began recalculating risk in real time. This narrow maritime passage, barely 33 kilometers wide at its tightest point, once again became the focal point of global anxiety. Every movement here is measured, tracked, and interpreted, not just as navigation, but as strategy. The Strait of Hormuz is not simply a waterway, it is the artery through which nearly a fifth of the world's oil flows. A disruption here does not remain local. It echoes outward, into markets, into militaries, into diplomacy. This was not simply a moment of heightened tension. It was a signal that the global energy system itself was being tested. According to regional officials and state-aligned media, plans are advancing to fundamentally alter the dependence on the Strait of Hormuz. Energy authorities in multiple Gulf states have outlined infrastructure initiatives. Pipelines, storage hubs, and alternative export routes designed to bypass the choke point entirely. Officials claim these projects, collectively valued at nearly $100 billion, aim to secure uninterrupted oil and gas exports even in the event of a full maritime blockade. According to statements attributed to energy ministries, the strategy centers on expanding inland pipeline networks that redirect crude oil to ports along the Red Sea and Arabian Sea, reducing exposure to the Strait of Hormuz. Military spokesmen have framed these developments as both defensive and strategic, emphasizing resilience against geopolitical pressure. Analysts noted that such infrastructure would allow key producers to maintain export capacity even during periods of naval confrontation. The symbolic message is equally significant. By reducing reliance on the Strait of Hormuz, these states signal that energy flows can continue without passing through contested waters. According to officials, this represents a long-term recalibration of global energy logistics. But the story quickly became far more complicated. Before we break down how these alternative routes could reshape global oil flows, make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to the channel so you never miss the latest dramatic developments shaping global geopolitics. According to U.S. officials, maritime security analysts, and Western media reports, bypassing the Strait of Hormuz is far more complex than constructing pipelines alone. Authorities emphasize that while alternative routes can reduce dependence, they cannot fully replace the sheer volume capacity of the strait. The Strait of Hormuz currently handles approximately 17 to 20 million barrels of oil per day. Existing bypass pipelines, even after expansion, cover only a fraction of that volume. U.S. naval officials stated that maintaining open sea lanes remains essential, highlighting ongoing patrol operations designed to ensure freedom of navigation. These operations involve coordinated surveillance, escort missions, and rapid response capabilities to deter potential disruptions. Analysts explained that maritime choke points function not only as transit routes, but also as leverage points in geopolitical negotiations. Insurance markets also play a critical role. When perceived risk increases, shipping costs rise sharply, influencing global oil prices regardless of actual disruptions. According to energy economists, even partial instability in the Strait of Hormuz can trigger disproportionate economic effects. Between these narratives lies a complex reality that analysts are still working to understand. What does this mean for the global energy system? The answer is strategic vulnerability. The Strait of Hormuz connects the Persian Gulf to the open ocean, serving as the primary export route for major oil producers including Saudi Arabia, the United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Iraq. Its importance lies not just in volume, but in concentration. A single geographic choke point carries a significant portion of global supply. Pipelines proposed as alternatives aim to redirect crude to ports such as Fujairah on the Gulf of Oman or terminals along the Red Sea coast. These routes reduce exposure to the Strait of Hormuz, but they introduce new dependencies on land infrastructure, political stability, and regional cooperation. Analysts noted that pipelines can be targeted, disrupted, or politically constrained in ways similar to maritime routes. The strategic weight of the Strait of Hormuz also extends beyond oil. Liquefied natural gas shipments, particularly from Qatar, rely heavily on this passage. Disruptions would affect not only oil markets, but also electricity generation in energy-dependent economies. By investing $100 billion into bypass systems, regional actors are signaling a shift toward redundancy and resilience. The message was clear. Control over energy routes is as critical as control over energy itself. The immediate consequences began unfolding across multiple layers. Militarily, naval forces increased their presence in and around the Strait of Hormuz. According to defense officials, additional patrol vessels and surveillance aircraft were deployed to monitor activity and deter escalation. Escort missions for commercial shipping intensified, reflecting heightened alert levels. These movements signaled readiness without direct confrontation. Regionally, governments across the Gulf issued coordinated statements emphasizing stability while accelerating infrastructure discussions. Energy ministers from several countries confirmed ongoing talks to expand pipeline capacity and diversify export routes. Neighboring states also reviewed contingency plans, anticipating potential disruptions. That preparation underscored a shared recognition of vulnerability. Global markets reacted with speed and precision. Oil prices rose, shipping costs climbed, insurance premiums surged. According to financial analysts, even the perception of instability in the Strait of Hormuz can add several dollars per barrel to crude prices. That spike in oil prices has consequences far beyond energy markets. Transportation costs increase, manufacturing expenses rise. Consumer prices follow, diplomatic channels quickly activated. According to international observers, discussions within organizations such as the United Nations and major economic forums focused on de-escalation and maritime security guarantees. Calls for restraint were issued alongside proposals for coordinated naval oversight. The aim was to prevent localized tensions from triggering broader conflict. In the United States, domestic political reactions reflected both concern and strategic calculation. Lawmakers debated energy independence, military commitments, and the long-term role of the U.S. Navy in securing global trade routes. Analysts noted that any sustained disruption in the Strait of Hormuz would directly impact fuel prices domestically, making it a politically sensitive issue. Regional planners maintain that the $100 billion investment will reduce reliance on the Strait of Hormuz and secure energy exports against future disruptions. U.S. and Western officials maintain that no infrastructure can fully replace the strategic importance of the strait. The emerging reality sits between these positions. The Strait of Hormuz remains a critical artery, but its dominance is now being challenged by long-term structural changes. Pipelines, alternative ports, and diversified routes introduce flexibility, but they do not eliminate risk. Instead, they redistribute it. The global energy system is adapting, but adaptation does not equal immunity. As infrastructure expands and naval patrols continue, the balance between deterrence and dependency grows increasingly fragile. Each new pipeline reduces pressure on the Strait of Hormuz, yet each new investment signals anticipation of future instability. That paradox defines the current moment. The question now is not whether the Strait of Hormuz can be bypassed entirely. It is whether the world can afford to rely on any single route at all. Will this effort to bypass the Strait of Hormuz remain a precaution, or is it the beginning of a fundamental shift in how global energy moves across the planet? Stay tuned for further updates as this situation continues to develop. And don't forget to like and subscribe so you never miss the latest dramatic geopolitical developments shaping the world.